everybody. Thank you for having me here today. I'm really excited to talk to you about AI work and how it is here and how you can get yourselves prepared within your organizations to take on this digital transformation. My name is Jackie Portelli. I am a senior go-to-market manager at Microsoft for Microsoft 365. And again, I'm so excited to talk to you all today. So let's jump in. So again, thank you for joining me today. There are a few items on our agenda that I want to just kind of run through before we get started so you know what we will be discussing. The first is I really would like to start talking to you about the current market landscape and discuss how AI can really help your organization. Along with this, we'll also take a look at what other organizations are also doing so you can get some ideas for what might be able to be applicable for yours as well. Next, we'll move on to a discussion really about the power of generative AI and how to harness AI to improve productivity with Copilot for Microsoft 365. Then I will walk you through some demos and show you how to activate features and develop customized plans and policies that really will work best for you. And then after that, we'll look at the benefits of a centralized management and how you can really save time to improve endpoint security in the cloud. We'll wrap up with any questions that you have and licensing options available, as well as some next steps, so you have everything that you need to get started on this transformation. With that, we will jump into the content. Okay, so once again, AI work is here. It is a reality. It has arrived. I think for the last 6 months or so, we've really been talking about how AI was coming to the workplace and how you're getting ready for AI. And now it's very much here. It's happened quite quickly. And we really want to make sure that you all are equipped with the right plan to get started if you have not done so. Or if you're already on that journey today, there are things that you can do to even strengthen that journey for your employees, for your organizations. And that's something that I'm really excited to take you all through today. Okay, so 1 year into AI, as I mentioned, it's happened quite quick, and we are really at a pivotal moment in time. In order to really understand how it's going, we wanted to survey people across 31 countries. So we surveyed about 31,000 people across 31 countries. Easy numbers to remember there, 31, right? And what we did here is we analyzed labor and hiring trends from LinkedIn and productivity patterns of Microsoft 365 customers globally. And what we found was quite interesting. And if we click to the next slide, I'll go through that a little bit. So first, what we found were employees really want AI at work, and they're not waiting for their company to catch up, right? They're going to start playing with things, they're getting familiar, and that's really great, but we, again, really want to make sure organizations are also equipped to meet even the employees where they're at this point. Secondly, AI-powered users are really reshaping the workday and show what's really possible when organizations can empower people to use AI. And then lastly, for employees, AI really does raise the bar and it can break the career ceiling. It's really allowing people to get in earlier. It's allowing these creatives, these people that really want to start learning these skills to just start doing it right away. And that's really incredible. We're so excited. That is really empowering every person on the planet to achieve more. Now, with that, we are seeing in our data that there really is an interest in scaling up on AI, and it's expanding well beyond the technology industry. If you just take a look here at professionals across industries like retail or real estate, and then also administrative and support services, they are growing their AI aptitude at a faster rate than those in technology, which is very interesting. But we're also seeing that those in creative functions, as I mentioned, are also really scaling up the fastest. So roles such as content writers, graphic designers, and marketing managers are really jumping in right away and are scaling up really quickly. So we are seeing that, again, AI skilling is on the rise and people are really interested to get their hands on this and start learning. For every professional, AI really could be the edge required to get ahead of a job market poised to heat up. Employers have really moved beyond just looking at AI technical talent, and they now want to know who is using AI, no matter what their function is. If you take a look at some of the numbers on the screen here, what we found is 77% of leaders say that they will actually offer more responsibility to employees who are at the early stages of their careers. 71% of leaders say that they'd actually rather hire a less experienced candidate with AI skills than a more experienced candidate without those skills. And then 66% of leaders say they would not actually hire somebody without AI skills. Now, let's just take a minute to think here. Does that surprise you? What are your reactions to that? Is that something that you might be feeling the same way about within your own workforce? Just something to think about as you think about your own landscape within your organizations. And some more interesting statistics here. While 79% of our leaders believe that AI is a business imperative to stay competitive, surprisingly, 60% say their organization lacks a plan and vision to actually implement it. 59% are really worried about quantifying the productivity gains of AI. And there's a lot of pressure to show immediate ROI, and it's really making leaders move more slowly, even though facing AI is inevitable at this point. We've come to a hard part of the tech disruption, right? We're moving past experimentation to business transformation. Just as we saw with cloud and mobile computing, business transformation comes with broad adoption. Organizations that apply AI to drive growth, manage costs, and deliver greater value to customers will really pull ahead. Now let's take a look at why security is so important. It's, of course, a very fundamental piece of this journey, and it's something that I'm really passionate about, so I'm excited to jump in with you. If we just take a look at this Forbes Advisor survey, businesses are using AI across a wide range of areas. The most popular applications include customer service, with 56% of respondents using AI for this purpose. And cybersecurity and fraud management is also being thought of and adopted by 51% of businesses. So these are just a couple top ways that business owners can really use artificial intelligence for security. Now, taking a look on the screen here at some of these numbers, organizations looking at boosting productivity with AI face the same challenge of protecting their data while managing multiple productivity tools in complex hybrid environments, right? Lots of tools, lots of things to manage, and it's hard, right? Like very complex, as we mentioned. What we find in our Work Trend Index report is it tells us that 70% of people would actually delegate as much possible work to AI to lessen their workloads, right? Those administrative tasks. And the Microsoft Data Security Index report revealed that organizations still utilize more than 10 different tools to actually manage data security on average. So as you can imagine, that's a lot to manage and to look across the whole estate at the same time. So it's something to think about here, right? Currently, what is your AI strategy for productivity? Did you identify key rules for enabling Copilot for Microsoft 365 already? Or is that something that you still need to be thinking about? And how do you intend to power, your employees and the other people that you work with these tools to really do their best work? All right. So what we've learned here from our work at Microsoft is that our customers are really challenged and facing similar issues, right? So as an example, if we look at the very first one here, right? Overburdened employees. That is something in my conversations with customers I'm hearing everywhere, right? I can't tell you how many employees are overburdened and would really love to offload their routine tasks that they're just spending too much time on, right? With AI, it's really critical to unlock that powerful strategy to help boost productivity and automate as much of this tasks as possible so that employees could really get back to doing what fulfills them. And I'm not going to drain the rest of this slide, but if you just take a minute and glance at some of these, challenges, I'm sure a lot of them do resonate. And it's something to think about when you're implementing your AI strategy, right? What are some of those challenges? How can you implement an AI practice that really helps address those challenges? And again, these are ones that we have seen broad spread across multiple organizations that we partner with. All right, so we're back to talking about AI powered productivity. Very exciting and so much innovation happening in this space. If you think about Microsoft 365, it is really a platform that will help jumpstart the generative AI transformation with AI powered productivity. First, it really enables your users with Copilot with commercial data protection, right? It allows them to save time with powerful web grounded prompts. And it's very exciting and is a great way for organizations to get their toes, in the water with testing AI. And now let me take a minute and explain what we mean by commercial data protection, because as exciting as all of this is, right, we really want to ensure that you understand the security and protection that we have around our tools. So with Copilot, enterprise data is protected and it does not leak outside of an organization. Chat data is not saved and no one at Microsoft will have eyes or access to what is being processed. Lastly, the chat data is not used to train the model, and that means the large language model. That is, we're not using that data to train that. And with Microsoft 365 E3, it includes the best-in-class productivity apps. So things that you're probably already very familiar with, such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Loop, Planner, and way more than that, right? It really provides a solid base for the best experience in case you decide to upgrade with Copilot from Microsoft 365. Okay, so let's just take a look at this demo. Your employees are really eager to try out AI-powered chat, right? And some may even be looking to do so with public web services already. But you are asking the right questions about data protection, right? So when you're logged into Bing with your account, Copilot with data protection is enabled. So now you can ask it to do things like create messaging for a new product and safely include sensitive internal information, such as the product specs and pricing in a prompt. With each response, you are reminded that your personal and company data is protected throughout chat experience, and that none of these prompts are stored by Microsoft to use to train that AI model. The more your employees can actually practice writing prompts with internal data, the more quickly that they can actually identify AI's best use case for the company. So if you know that your employees are already starting to use public web services, you can actually now clarify which AI-powered chat to maintain that data protection for your organization. So really, really powerful, and again, a great tool for organizations looking for a great data protected way to start playing around with some of our incredible tools to help your employees fast start their skills. All right, with that, something that I'm sure all of you have heard a lot about already is Copilot for Microsoft 365. It really brings to the individual user and the broader organizations. The architecture itself is fundamentally very simple. It is an orchestrator, and it's a large language model that is built on top of these existing Microsoft 365 solutions. It also takes place within a compliance boundary, so you can use it knowing it's staying within that compliance boundary. What this means is that Copilot actually combines the power of cutting-edge LLMs, again, those large language models, and also your specific content in Microsoft Graph, so that your documents, emails, calendars, chats, meetings, contacts, and other business data, you can bring that all in and you can use it to actually deliver these accurate, relevant, and contextual responses. With that, we are going to now jump into talking about how you can really protect your organizational data. Again, security is foundational for this AI transformation. And with that, we also want to be thinking about how do we protect our data as part of this. All right. So with Microsoft 365 E3, the recommended Zero Trust security foundations to protect customer data are covered. So you can rest assured knowing that those are covered. And Copilot actually inherits the permissions and policies configured to your tenant. So Some things that you might want to be thinking about here are, do you have a security strategy for data protection? Do you manage enterprise files in the cloud, on-prem, or maybe in a hybrid environment? And lastly, do you have a zero trust strategy in place, and how are you managing that today? These are all really critical questions to be asking yourselves while you're thinking about your strategy around your data and making sure it's protected. Okay, so security, especially data protection, is a really top concern when introducing AI tools into an organization. Security recommendations for AI are anchored in zero trust. As a leader in security, Microsoft provides a practical roadmap and clear guidance for zero trust. And by implementing recommended protections as you introduce AI tools and companions, you are building a foundation of zero trust security, which, as we mentioned, is really, really important and is something I hope that everyone here is starting to think about, if not already on the road to, have secured. Zero trust is a security strategy, right? It isn't a product or a service, but it's really an approach in designing and implementing a set of security principles. And so some of those security principles include verifying explicitly, right? Using least privilege access, assuming breach, and then also implementing, a strategy around all of this. So implementing that zero trust, never trust, always verify mindset really requires change to cloud infrastructure, deployment strategy, and implementation. Here at Microsoft, we really want to be able to help you prepare for AI tools and companions and build a zero trust foundation at the same time, right? So how do you think about taking this staged approach, starting with protections for web-grounded prompts and then maturing to protections for Microsoft 365 graph-grounded prompts, right? This way you can introduce Copilot also in stages, from allowing web-grounded prompts to the internet to allowing both web-grounded and Microsoft 365 graph-grounded prompts to both the internet and your organization. Lastly, with web-grounded prompts, these are issued by Copilot for Bing, Edge, and Windows. Copilot for Microsoft 365 can be configured to allow web-grounded prompts. So lots of opportunity within here. The last thing that I just wanted to make sure to mention about web-grounded prompts and Microsoft 365 grounded prompts is that Microsoft 365 grounded prompts are issued by Copilot for M365, right? If integration with Copilot for Bing, Edge, and Windows is configured, these prompt experiences can actually include graph-grounded data. So just something that is really important to think about for your comprehensive zero trust strategy. Lots of opportunity. Now, with that said, there is a great deal of content on this from an admin's point of view, right? So if you take a look at a typical user journey, what an individual would experience as they use Copilot and the security and compliance functions working in the background, right? As I said before, it starts with Microsoft 365 controls for identity, devices, information, and cloud apps. So now let's take a look at really how we can elevate security with Microsoft 365 E3 for Copilot. Okay, so these measures provide a secure user journey from login to using Copilot with continuous oversight from IT administrators. They emphasize the importance of managing and consuming information securely, whether or not Copilot is being used. It is crucial for organizations to implement these practices, not just as a response to using Copilot, but really as a foundational approach to securing sensitive information. Okay, so now we are jumping over to talk about the benefits of centralized management. All right, so this is our last pillar in our enabling an AI-powered secure productivity through centralized management. So Well, this is all great, right? Management of point security solutions is often pretty complex. We simplify it for customers through Microsoft 365 Admin Center, from where all of this can really be managed through the internet for multiple endpoints. So a couple things to think about here, as we've done with the other pillars as well, start to brainstorm around how are you managing your endpoints currently? If it's a new employee who's hired, what's the process to even get them onboarded for work, right? Regardless if it's remote or on-site. And also, for productivity and collaboration, how many vendor solutions are you managing today? Have you considered consolidating this for efficiency? So a few things to be, considering as we discuss centralized management. All right, just a few years ago, an endpoint was a desktop computer, right? We all remember that. Today, it's so many different things. It's a laptop, a phone, a tablet, a printer, and also, it's a device in a meetings room. So we've really changed the landscape of what an endpoint is. And it's really important to talk through that because it's likely that at least a portion of these devices are now personal ones, right? In fact, what we're seeing is that at least 50% of people use a personal device for work. And I'm sure a lot of you who work in, more regulated industries with maybe some seasonal workforce can really understand that statistic quite well. It's likely that your IT pros are challenged with the task of managing all these various devices, plus all the applications that run on top of them, right? Now with Microsoft 365, you can really simply solve this challenge through a single solution that will provide visibility, recommendations, and data that allows you to actually go and act. We have actually developed a simplified and streamlined framework for endpoint management that really allows IT and administrators within IT to think about a number of things. So first, delivering that best experience with Windows 11 Enterprise. When the overall digital estate is made more secure for the organization, this really delivers a better frictionless experience for employees. In addition, managing and protecting any endpoint from the cloud, right? The key benefit of streamlining endpoint management is really to improve your ability to protect, manage, and support all the endpoints and apps. Lastly, simplify and optimize, right? How do we simplify and optimize the endpoint estate to improve IT efficiency? This solution benefits IT professionals because their endpoint management processes are simplified. Now, let's jump in and chat a little bit about Windows 11 from some of the things that I just covered, right? So in Windows 11, hardware and software security work together. We really want to help our customers keep their people, data, and devices all protected and private. Security starts with controls that are on by default to actually protect out of the box. Windows 11 Enterprise protects against threats as soon as the computer boots using hardware root of trust for powerful security from the start. The solution also offers and delivers robust application security and prevents access to unverified applications as well. For workers, we are delivering better, more secure experiences with Windows Hello for Business passwordless security that protects their identities. We're also helping you ensure that your workers can stay productive. So features like Snap Assist, the ability to control teams from the taskbar, the focus time to help reduce distractions as well. And Copilot is really helping to improve worker productivity by enabling them to use natural language to ask for assistance in performing specific tasks or even troubleshooting a problem. Now, we also are embracing inclusivity. So you can think about, okay, how do we deliver the best experience for all of your workers, right? Accessibility is built in. For people with disabilities, Windows 11 is inclusive by design, and that is something that we are really passionate about. For IT, this promise of productivity really starts with application compatibility. So if it works on Windows 10, it works on Windows 11. We are continuously testing applications as we develop Windows 11, and we're actually seeing above 99% application compatibility. You can also use your existing testing and validation processes. So those will all work on Windows 11. Windows 10 and Windows 11 are the most compatible operating systems yet. For IT, productivity really starts with application compatibility, right? As we mentioned earlier. So if your app works on Windows 10, it'll work on Windows 11. We have even elevated more than 1 million applications and are continuously testing applications as we develop Windows 11 as well. And again, we're seeing that above 99% compatibility rate. So, in conclusion, if an application does require additional or new forms of testing, we are ready here at Microsoft. Microsoft is committed to ensuring our customers' apps work on the latest versions of software. If any issues arise, we will be here to help remediate them at no additional cost. App Assure is a service designed to address issues with Windows 10 and Microsoft 365 apps app compatibility. Customers receive guidance from an expert team that makes every reasonable effort to resolve compatibility issues. So that is something that you can have with our App Assure service. Okay, single pane for management among operation systems for both information worker and frontline worker scenarios, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. With Intune, Windows Enterprise, and Entra, customers can actually maximize their investment with Microsoft Identity and Security Solution and minimize their risks from integration as well as reduce IT management and overhead costs. So we love that, right? Reducing costs and making sure that we are thinking about minimizing that overhead. Lastly, with IT transformation on operation with AI and automation, Intune enables customers to use next-gen management experiences. So that's all powered by MS AI. Now, according to a Forrester, Microsoft 365 E3 customers report a number of different things. So let's just run through them so you can get a sense of the impact within the study. The first thing that we saw was reduced spending on employee devices by 23%. Multi-factor authentication and Intune really allow organizations to transform employees to bring your own device. And this really retires the corporate devices as well. Secondly, we saw reduced time spent deploying and managing new software by 25%. By connecting applications to Microsoft Entra ID, enabling single sign-on and MFA, the IT team reduces the effort required to support new software. Next, we saw decreased endpoint configuration times by 75%. That's a huge number, right? The low touchpoint endpoint configuration capabilities provided by Windows 11 Autopilot saves IT administrators significant amounts of time. We saw reduced time in what is required to set up a new user on a new endpoint by 75%, right? Leveraging Microsoft's modern application stack, an organization can actually successfully set up a user on a new device in a fraction of the time it took before. Connecting apps to Microsoft Entra ID reduces the extra work that IT needs to do to set up a user on a new device. And then lastly, we saw eliminated 15% of help desk tickets and decreased the average resolution time by 15%. So wouldn't that be great, right? To start eliminating the amount of tickets coming in and the time spent on those. With that, an organization reduces annual tickets with self-service options, right? And automated fixes for common issues, things such as password resets and software installations. Okay, so what's next? What do you think the right solution is for you, right? Let's chat a little bit about what we talked about here today. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 is an add-on available for Office 365 from E1 to E5, as well as Microsoft 365 E3 and E5 suites. The plan that you choose determines your level of security and compliance controls available to your Microsoft 365 environment and Copilot, protecting your data, devices, and applications. With Office 365 E3, it provides baseline security controls, including multi-factor authentication via security defaults, really to help safeguard your organization from identity-related attacks, things such as password spray, replay, and phishing. Now, it also includes the use of manual sensitivity and retention labels to Office documents only, enabling your organization to protect sensitive information and adhere to data governance policies as well. And then in addition, Office 365 E3 also provides the standard compliance controls. It really allows you to log your user activities and search for Copilot interactions. Now with Microsoft 365 E3, there's offerings around core security controls, right? Such as conditional access with Entra ID. This evaluates logins based on factors like user or group membership, IP location, device state, and the application being accessed. Like Office 365, this plan allows for the use of manual sensitivity and retention labels, but extends their application to non-Office files, things like PDFs, really providing greater control over your data landscape. So this would also come with the standard compliance controls offered by Office 365 E3. Additionally, Microsoft 365 includes a unified endpoint management solution with Intune. It really helps enforce granular policies based on user, device, location, and also app context. And does this, and it manages and secures your mobile devices as well, and those apps in addition to that. Now, Microsoft 365 E5 offers best-in-class security, things such as session and user risk evaluation. Entra ID integrates risk signals with Entra ID protection, allowing conditional access policies to identify and remediate risky users and sign-in behavior. For Purview, automatic sensitivity and retention labels can be applied. This automatic application ensures consistent and efficient data management and eliminates human error by automatically classifying and protecting sensitive information at scale, and helps ensure data is retained for a required period of time. Additionally, Purview can also provide advanced data security and compliance controls, including user risk, adaptive controls, communication compliance, and premium investigation controls. And then lastly, this plan includes Microsoft Defender for cloud apps, which assesses risk across more than 400 AI apps in an organization and can help block or sanction their use, really helping to control your app usage and data. And with that, what are some next steps that I would recommend for you? So the first thing is I would definitely get started with Copilot today and really elevate security and experience with Microsoft 365 E3. That is really going to be your best platform with all of those security controls to get started on for Copilot. Secondly, we have an incredible team at Microsoft working on our solution assessments. I would definitely recommend scheduling a solution assessment to really think about how to elevate your productivity and security estate and help prioritize your next steps from here. Lastly, I would think about how do you go about accelerating this journey with deployment support. So this is in part of your Microsoft 365 subscription. We understand that deployment is really critical for you all. And so definitely think about that deployment support as part of your Microsoft 365 subscription as well in your next steps with me. Okay, Well, with that, thank you so much for having me on today. I really enjoyed talking through AI work with you. And with that, we are going to move over to our Q&A section. So thank you so much, and let's move over to that Q&A.